And we have breaking news to start off this hour of the lead. A federal judge ordering the Trump administration to fully fund SNAP or food stamp benefits for the 42 million Americans who rely on the food assistance program. In the month of November, amid what is now the longest government shutdown in the history of these United States, the administration has announced that they're going to appeal the ruling. The Trump administration is currently only partially funding the program through November from the nearly $5 billion emergency reserve it has been required to dip into. Let's go to CNN's Caitlin Collins at the White House. Caitlin?
Yeah, Jake, this is quite a ruling from this judge ordering the federal government to make these payments in full when it comes to these SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans who've kind of been left in the middle and the lurch of all of this, as there's been this dispute playing out inside the courtroom from groups that are suing the administration over not paying these benefits during this government shutdown. And something that stood out to me, Jake, is something the judge referenced in this decision today, in this ruling, saying that they must make these SNAP payments by Friday, by tomorrow, where he essentially pointed to something that the president said on Truth Social earlier this week after the administration was ordered to pay about half of the SNAP payments, what they had from that contingency fund that they had. That had created a lot of questions here during the White House briefing, Jake, where Caroline Leavitt was acknowledging the president's post, but essentially saying that they were still complying with the court order. Those were actually talking points that were sent up to Republicans on Capitol Hill.
You know, it's a shame that a judge had to come through and force Trump to feed those 42 million Americans. And, you know, I'm glad that that took place. However, it's a little bit bittersweet because we got to understand that they're tapping into emergency funds. Emergency funds, meaning what's the solution moving forward? Are they only going to be giving SNAP recipients their benefits in November, and then December we're back to the same problem? I don't know. But like Jasmine Crockett said, she said something very wise. She said the problem isn't SNAP benefits. The problem is we're in the middle of an economic collapse. And we got to go to what Jasmine Crockett had to say because she was right on point. But let's get into it.
The judge took it very differently and saw it as basically a rebuke of his order to pay those SNAP payments. And he's warning here that if this does not happen, there are millions of Americans, elderly and disabled, who could go hungry without these benefits being paid off in full. And so that's the question here of what the administration is going to do next, Jake, because we are told that they are going to appeal this decision that came down from Judge McConnell today, but we haven't yet heard from the White House or from the...
So they're going to appeal the decision, but the judge is ordering that Trump give these people their benefits by tomorrow. So we got to wait and see what happens. You know, if Trump utterly denies the judge's request, then we got an even much bigger problem where he doesn't answer to nobody. Let's continue.
Office of Management and Budget on this matter. And certainly it is something that is becoming a crisis point for so many Americans in this moment and in this government shutdown that, Jake, right now, as we are here tonight, yes, there's a lot of conversations happening on Capitol Hill, but right now still no end in sight to that government shutdown.
All right, Caitlin Collins at the White House with all the latest news. Thank you so much. And don't miss Caitlin on her show, The Source with Caitlin Collins. Tonight she's going to be joined by Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene by the Trump administration to appeal this judge's ruling, the judge ordering the administration to fully fund SNAP benefits this month, and the Trump administration fighting that.
Well, look, Republicans want to get the SNAP benefits, and we've given the Democrats 13 times to vote to do just that. And even tomorrow, they're telling us they're going to vote against SNAP benefits once again. So I think that the Trump organization, the Trump administration, was going to use these $5 billion of emergency funds that were meant for disasters. The judge told them to use those, so they will. But beyond that, then who do we choose? You know, there's only a certain amount of money left. Do we not pay the troops? Do we not buy infant formula? Do we not pay for school lunches? What the real issue is here, my friends across the aisle need to come on back and fund the government again.
Well, you know, look, the Republicans right now, they have their back against the wall. The GOP has stepped in and pretty much made sure that the country is being ran bipartisan. And, you know, you're looking at another political war on the horizon. You know, this right here, this shutdown is showing you just how unstable America is. But we have breaking news. They're saying that a judge orders Trump to fully pay back SNAP benefits for the month of November. You know, there's a lot of worried and uncertain American citizens right now who are wondering how they're going to put food on the table. You know, we're talking about households where people have, you know, jobs, people out there who just are struggling because of the economy. And Trump is building ballrooms, aka bell worship rooms, spending millions of dollars on foreign aid as well, refusing to pay the people the emergency funds for SNAP benefits. And we're going to see what he's going to do. The White House is pretty much going to appeal the judge's ruling, probably to get more time. And look, I'm going to tell you like this. I said it before. Trump is using hunger, weaponizing hunger, or leveraging hunger for political power. I mean, he's literally starving the people out just to show you who's boss.
The president talks about the cost of living a lot. This is what he said on Fox just yesterday in reference to Tuesday's elections.
We've done so much. You know, energy is way down. Look at energy. We're going to have $2 gasoline. I did that. That brings everything else down. Groceries are way down other than beef. Now, beef is going to come down. You know, we have to do that.
Damn groceries are not down. It's $10 for seasoning salt. The hell is he talking about? Groceries are way down. Eggs are still $7. What are we talking about? What kind of it's like, what kind of sorcery is Trump doing? Well, he can tell you gas is way down, groceries are way down. Where? Show me where. Anyway.
The fact is we have prices way down. We have prices down. Our country's doing well.
So inflation, just as a factual matter, it's at its highest rate since January when President Trump took office. Groceries are up across all product categories, not just beef, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Americans are paying close to $200 more for the same goods and services this year as they were last year. Are you concerned at all that President Trump is out of touch with how Americans are actually experiencing this economy?
Well, Jake, I certainly think we can do better. I think that we inherited a tough situation. 4 years of cumulative inflation of about 25%. The best news is that wages are outpacing inflation. Food inflation is around 3% right now compared to, again, that 25% in inflation. We want to do better. He's absolutely right that the price of gasoline is down from over $4.50 a gallon to $2.50 a gallon. Interest rates are down, but we've got work to do, and I look forward to doing just that. We need to impact the cost of health care. Housing are things that I'm concerned as well as that the Biden administration left us with some huge problems in those areas. So I'm looking forward to try to tackling the cost of health care.
Hey, listen, I said this once and I'm going to say it again. America is Mystery Babylon. It will fall like ancient Rome. And I'm going to be bringing out a lot of material to prove this. I'm going to show you the parallels. I'm going to be putting out certain material where you can really see what's happening right now in the country. And without a shot of a doubt, you're going to know where we're headed. You know, listen, Trump is all for the rich. He is an elitist. Now let's continue.
Cost of housing and others.
I don't have to tell somebody from Kansas that the tariffs are having an effect on prices as well.
Look, I think that they're overstated. I think that we import less than 20% of our goods. The average tariff is going to probably impact the price to people here at home 1 or 2%. It's going to be a one-time hit as well. And at the other hand, we're bringing in more manufacturing jobs as well. So he's used them for good leverage. We shipped our big ships of sorghum today. Yesterday was soybeans. So the tariffs, in my opinion, have worked for good leverage and bringing some of those jobs back home here.
Hey, to all the MAGA supporters, we're going to go to Fox News too. So don't you worry about it. Yeah, I see MAGA rolling in saying, hey, you watching CNN. Listen, first and foremost is breaking news. So we got to go from one station to the next to figure out everything that's going on. All right. For the record, me personally, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm what you call a free thinker. If you want to call me anything, you can call me anti-establishment, because none of them have a comprehensive plan for my people. I shoot straight from the hip with it. And this country is being ran by some type of satanic elite cabal that's fixated on world domination. Let's just keep it a 1,000. That's what's going on in America. Let's proceed.
As well.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican of Georgia, talked with CNN about the president's focus around Tuesday's election. Take a listen.
I also blame that on who's advising him in the White House. You know, keeping him on nonstop tours around the world and nonstop meetings with foreign countries' leaders is not America first. It's just not. I think domestic policy should be the most important issue that the president and the Republican-controlled House and Senate are working on, and that showed up in the election on Tuesday.
Do you agree?
Of course not. I think that mission that President Trump was on was the most successful trade trip that it's ever taken. Meanwhile, the proof is in the pudding. Our border's secure. The price of gasoline is down. Like we talked about, our one big beautiful bill, the largest tax cut in American history. There's no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security. We made permanent some of the great things for small business growth as well. Things like no taxes, or there's 1-year tax deductions for things.
And all while the people are starving. Now, for all the MAGA junkies out there, let's make the truth great again. How about that? Let's try making the truth great again. All right. Let's try that. You can order this off nubreedglobaltruth.com. Let's make the truth great again. Now let's go to Fox News for y'all. And so we can see what's going on. It's been updated 2 hours ago.
Time now 7:03, and turning now to a big story this morning. SNAP benefits have run out for millions, including 900,000 people here in the state of Arizona.
Well, the program froze Saturday, just one day after 2 judges ordered the Trump administration to use emergency funds to pay at least a portion of the benefits. The White House has until 10 a.m. Arizona time to update the judges on how it will disperse the benefits.
So, the White House got some hours left to get these people some food.
The Trump administration claims a $6 billion contingency fund doesn't apply to the shutdown.
So they're saying that this contingency funding doesn't apply to the shutdown. They're consistently trying to find loopholes to starve the people. The question is why? Why? I personally believe they want mayhem in the grocery stores. They want people getting knocked over the head in the parking lot for a loaf of bread. They want anarchy. They want people wilding out. Because why not tap into the funds? They're in no rush to open the government. Let me see. Plain Reality says, nah, dude. I heard what you said. You lost all points to me. Okay. Well, you know what you can do, right? Hey, look, man, you don't like the show, change the channel. We just go ahead and kick him on out. Let's go.
And even if SNAP benefits are restored, there will still be delays before recipients can get their money, which means many are in need of assistance right now.
So let's get right to Danielle Miller. She is live at St. Mary's.
See, Connor didn't get it, y'all. Connor just doesn't get it because he doesn't understand the struggle. See, Connor don't understand that his people are actually the highest welfare recipients. They're the highest SNAP benefits recipients. But Connor, he don't know nothing about that because he don't be around Bubba and them. He think that the only people getting SNAP benefits is Sharkeisha. So Connor it just went over Connor's head. So we had to do Connor a favor. Respectfully, of course.
Food Bank with how the organization is working to help them out. Hi, Danielle.
Yeah, good morning. And as we know, St. Mary's Food Bank helps out all year long, helping the hungry folks in our community, just doing a fantastic job here. And yeah, now they are really having to step up. You guys can see the line has already started here for food distribution boxes here, and they are just really busy as the government shutdown is continuing here. Jerry Brown with the organization here. Jerry, you guys have really seen an increase, especially just within this last week.
Right. We were already at record numbers. The most I'd seen, the most we've seen in our 58-year history, and we just put another 10 to 15% on top of that last week. Well,
yeah, see, it's like Trump listen, does the Trump administration want the food banks to be empty? Does he want Americans lined up in soup kitchens while they brag about tax cuts on tips? I mean, you should have never been taxing tips to begin with. Well, if you're a waitress, we're not going to take taxes on your tips. Yo, half of America's in a food line. People up in soup kitchens. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, when I tell you America is in a dark place, it's dark, y'all. Whole lot of straw man arguments. And, just like we have these people who come in here, we got different MAGA people come in and say, get a job, get a job. Why get a job when no jobs are certain in America? Why don't you go tell the federal employees who got fired by Trump to go get a job? How about get a career? How about get a trade? How about get a business? How about become an entrepreneur? How about become self-sufficient? Get a job. Why do you think America in the state is in? Last time I checked, 600,000 Amazon employees just got laid off. Shouldn't we be hurling something else, some other rhetoric out there like, hey, let's figure out how we can start a business that's lucrative. Get a job. I'm telling you, man, that's the reason why their people happen to be that's why they happen to be the highest welfare recipients right there. They too busy pointing the finger at every other nation, telling them to get a job. Y'all wearing blackface on Halloween as if that's helping your people. I mean, damn. It's real simple. It's real simple to understand what's happening. America's falling, and Trump leading the charge on the fall.
Over 50,000 families across our network came to see St. Mary's Food Bank last week, but we were able to take care of every family in need, and we're happy to do that and proud to do that, and something we've done for 58 years and we're going to keep doing.
And looking at this, I'm sure it's a little startling.
Let me see. Let me read this comment here. Let's see. Someone says, Geraldo says, Sheba Dog saying good job while raising his thumbs up. Okay, that's a emoji. Okay, thank you for the support. Yep. Somebody said Trump has to go by the laws on the books. It doesn't seem that way. It sure doesn't seem that way. Let's continue.
For you guys to see what's going on
at this time of the month too, because normally early November is about planning for Thanksgiving. Okay, we have so many things to do. 24,000 families we're hoping to give a complete Thanksgiving dinner to across our network in the week or two leading up. Now we have another emergency situation right now. If they run into each other 3 weeks from now, it's going to be a very interesting situation for the food bank.
And you have pretty much everybody looking for help right now. You have those who rely on the food bank and SNAP benefits, and now furloughed workers.
Right. Talk about 34,000 furloughed workers out there that are either not working or they're working without pay.
Now, won't you tell them to go get a job? All 30,000 furloughed workers who are working in certain government positions who don't have a paycheck coming in. I mean, listen, austerity measures are really real. And look, I'm going to say this. Jay Dollar says, get a job equals be a slave. Listen, that's about halfway true, because you need a job to do what you need to do in life, right? Sometimes you need that job to get where you're going. But you always got to have something else planned. You always got to have something else in motion outside of a job. That's the reason why the country's in a state it's in, where we're pretty much in the palm of the government's hand, because there's not enough people getting trades. There's not enough people who are entrepreneurs. There's not enough people who are willing to take leaps of faith and invest in something, invest in themselves, right? It's just crazy to hurl out, get a job, when you see all these people who had jobs laid off and they're in the food line. It makes no sense. It looks like, to me, a lot of people who are able to survive without one and have their own businesses, their own websites, their own services, and their own goods, who are successful at it, it seems like they're winning. While you hurling out, get a job. You're talking to a man who owns several businesses, that been an entrepreneur since 2020. I would think you would want to take some advice from me, right? Let me see. Yes, thank you. Geraldo says best channel on the internet. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Somebody said, LOL, Trump is the biggest beaker of the U.S. Constitution and U.S. federal and state laws, more than any other non-qualified person in that office, convicted felon and constantly breaking the law. Yep, you got that right. You got that right. Let's go.
34,000 furloughed workers out there that are either not working or they're working without pay. That would be enough of an increase for us to handle, but then you get the SNAP benefits on top of that. It's really uncharted territory, for especially at this time of the year. We've dealt with government shutdowns before, but SNAP benefits were never a part of it.
In 30 minutes from now, that is when the line is going to open, when those boxes are going out. Is this pretty typical of what you guys see at this time? Or
usually we're not out into the street on a Monday morning, but last week we were, and we know that we will be again today. We just ask people to be patient. We service 8 cars every 2.5 minutes. It's about as fast as we can move at this location. There's also our location in Surprise, and
look at, you have never seen these food banks backed up like this. This is the beginning, and it's like Trump is trying to prolong it. There's certain lawmakers and people in positions of power trying to stop the anarchy from breaking free and telling Trump, hey, look, man, this is by a federal judge. You are ordered to give these people their benefits. And I'm gonna tell you, it ain't just black folks up in those cars. Because again, Caucasian people are the highest recipients of SNAP benefits. This is going down in Arizona. And they're lined up. Why? Because the issue is we're having an economic collapse. That's the issue. It's not that Americans are lazy. It's not that nobody wants to work. It's not that nobody wants to make ends meet. It's not that people just gave up on life. No, the economy is collapsing. Regina Michelle, thank you for the support. I appreciate you. She says, keep telling the truth. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that I will do.
Also, agency partners spread out across the state. If you go to St. Mary's Food Bank and press.
Somebody said, am I wearing a MAGA hat? No, my hat says, make the truth great again. And you can find this hat on nubreedglobaltruth.com. Let's make the truth great again. Geraldo, thanks again for the support. I appreciate you.
On Find Food and put in your zip code. It'll tell you the location closest to you.
And how do people help? I think so many people right now are seeing the conditions and they just want to help. How do they do so?
Right now we're buying food. We're in the process. We're dipping into our reserves to buy food because we know now is the time. So cash donations were great last week. Thank you all so much to our donors out there. Please keep it coming. Go to stmarysfoodbank.org. Every dollar provides 5 meals. We can also use canned food because a lot.
Damn, every dollar provides 5 meals. What the hell? Are they doing military meals? They doing those canteen meals? How they doing that? But man, this is where America's at. And I want y'all to think about this, man. For as long as we can remember, what have we been told, y'all? As long as we can remember, we've been told that America's untouchable. America has the biggest economy, the strongest military. It's the richest nation. But now we're seeing the mass cracking. The truth is the country been living on borrowed time and borrowed money. The Most High letting everything that's hidden come to the light. Every system that looks unshakable is now showing signs of rot. From Wall Street to Washington to New York and abroad. You can't keep building on lies and expect the foundation to hold. You just can't keep doing that. And now everybody's feeling the blow. See, our people, we already been through this. We've already felt the blow. Let's go. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Sister 1973. She says, make the truth great again. That's right. And then you still got people in the chat pointing at the Democrats. It's Democrats' fault. No, you know whose fault it is? The entire system's fault. Democrats and Republicans, two wings of the same bird. I suggest you get your head out the sand and really pay attention to what's happening. The Democrats set up this disaster and the Republicans capitalize off the disaster. Simple as that.
A lot of our canned food that normally goes in our emergency food boxes are held up because of the government shutdown. So things like the state fair drive, we were taking those cans and putting them directly into emergency food boxes. So if you have a few extra cans in your pantry, we actually ran out of food drive boxes last week. We had such a surge in the number of people who wanted to help us with food drives. Thank you so much. Any box will do, and we should have boxes back here for people to come and get early this week.
Awesome, Jerry. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll be here all morning long here just to talk to Jerry.
Yo, let's see what Trump gonna do. But I want y'all to hear what Jasmine Crockett had to say about the whole SNAP benefit situation, because she said something that was absolutely key.
First, I want to ask you first.
Yeah, shout out to this FBA sister right here, Jasmine Crockett. I like what she does, man. So let's hear what she got to say, right?
So thank you for coming on. There's rumblings of discussions to reopen the government. Maybe small gangs of senators are reportedly working to find a way out. But of course, Senate Majority Leader John Thune said he won't discuss any Affordable Care Act changes until the government is open. What have you heard? And is there a possibility of any breakthrough happening soon?
You know, I am not convinced if there is a possibility of a breakthrough as relates to it coming from the top down. I think that this is going to have to be a bottom-up effort. You know, there's been a lot of discussions about how much travel has been interfered with and how many planes have had to be canceled. I think that those are the types of things, those types of disruptions, the disruptions as it relates to SNAP benefits and WIC benefits. I think that those are the rumblings of the people that will finally solve this. Unfortunately, we have people that are not prioritizing the very people that put them into power, starting with the President of the United States, who has failed to sit down with the four corners, the leaders within the House as well as the Senate, to decide that they were going to come to a resolution to make sure that we can move forward in a way that benefits not just red states, not just blue states, but benefits the United States.
Not just red states or blue states, but the United States. But the only issue with that is, Miss Crockett, it ain't no United States. This is the divided states here. Ain't no United States. This place have been broken up into fractions at this point. Yeah. This ain't nothing united about this. And the whole stalemate that the Democrats and Republicans, the whole stalemate they're having, that's by design. Yeah, I know y'all see MAG in the building. They're quite upset right now. They think that we just some liberals or left wing. Look, we don't care about none of them. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Starving people is wrong.
I mean, there just doesn't seem to be that much of a sense of urgency from the White House or Republicans. And does that tell you that they think they can end this shutdown without capitulating, without giving in to Democrats' demands?
You know, I don't know what it says. I mean, it is very hard to say that you can predict anything when it comes to this White House, especially when it comes to this particular president. I will tell you that, you know, it seems like he's not on the same page with the Republicans. We know that here recently he basically said, hey, just go ahead and explore the nuclear option. You know, they've been trying to blame this on the Democrats the entire time, when those of us who understand how things work, they have exploited the nuclear option more than once. And I'm not suggesting that they should. I'm actually suggesting that there's two ways out. Number one, you can either explore the nuclear option, which means that we reduce the threshold from 60 down to an even 50, or you could do what like most real politicians would do. They would actually negotiate. And if you are willing to talk about what it is that we can do as it relates to the Affordable Care Act on the back end, then why can't you talk about it on the front end? In addition to that, I do want to point out, because the House has failed to go in under the failed leadership of Johnson right now, here's the issue. We could be going through and getting through the actual appropriations bills, because the continuing resolution is only supposed to be a stopgap
to get them. And 3.5.
Now, basically, what Jasmine is saying is, do what you're supposed to do and go in there and negotiate. But she points to something more nefarious than just SNAP benefits being the issue. No, this more so looks like symptoms of economic collapse. They have to reach into the reserves to feed the people. I thought we was the richest country. What are we talking about? There's people out here hungry right now. Look, it's people in there. Listen, it's people crashing out, running into Walmart, getting their little cousins and older uncles to punch people in their mouth on the way out. That's what's going on in the country right now. You know, most of middle America up in food banks right now around Thanksgiving time. They trying to figure out how they going to get that dry ass turkey on their table. America looking crazy, y'all. Trump administration must pay SNAP benefits during shutdown. The court rules.
Clear if or even when the 42 million Americans who rely on food stamps are going to get them, and 3.5 million people in your state of Texas. So what is your response to Republicans who are saying maybe we should take another look at this program because too many Americans are on SNAP? And what are you hearing from your constituents?
Well, I will tell you this. I will agree with them on one thing. I will agree that there are too many American people that are on SNAP benefits. But that means that you got to not look necessarily at SNAP. You got to look at the reasons that they're on SNAP. We know that over 1/4 of these people that are in receipt of SNAP benefits are actually the working poor in this country, right? We have not...
The working poor. So all that get a job, that's nonsense. The reason why people getting SNAP benefits because they need to get a job. No, the mass majority of those who are receiving SNAP benefits are what you would call working poor. Guess what? The majority of America is working poor. The majority of America has jobs, but they don't have enough to get by. So they need what? Assistance. They need assistance. Why? Because the economy doesn't make no damn sense. The jobs are not paying enough, and there's not enough jobs to go around. So, you know, a lot of people are insensitive to what's going on. You got people who are MAGA who are pretty much insensitive to what's going on because they lack understanding. And it's crazy because a lot of MAGA folks happen to be YT folks who are bigots and racist. Let's go. Let's let it play through.
In this country, right? We have not the working poor in this. Look at the reasons that they're on SNAP. We know that over 1/4 of these people that are in receipt of SNAP benefits are actually the working poor in this country.
Oh, hold on, y'all. We're going to have to get one of these MAGA clowns together real quick. First of all, let me start off by saying, secondly, in your comment, you said most of Black people on SNAP sell their SNAP cards. Why are you worried about what most of Black people are doing when it's mostly your people who are on SNAP benefits? See, all this pointing the finger gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere. And look, a shout out to all of my Americans, white or Black. But those type of idiots right there, we don't want them communing with us. Like, why are you over here? Go to a damn NASCAR gathering. Like, what are you doing here? This is not Nick Fuentes' channel. Like, how did you end up over here? Like, shouldn't you be at a local Klan rally? Shouldn't you be somewhere watching Charlie Kirk reruns? Shouldn't you be somewhere scrolling Instagram looking at old Charlie Kirk videos while The Arms of an Angel play? What the hell are you bothering us for, worried about what we do? Try to make that make sense. Mostly Black people sell their snaps. Well, it's mostly your people with snaps. What are you talking about? See, all of this misdirected energy, y'all need to be taking it up with your leader. You know, the billionaire who act like he was one of y'all. You know, the billionaire that said he was going to release the Epstein files and drain the swamp. The billionaire that convinced you all in the trailer parks that he was one of y'all. Let's see. Tara says, it's not just lazy people on SNAP, morons. When you cut that off, you also take away kids' free breakfast and lunch at school. You're also starving the veterans that fought for you to have the opinion. Exactly. You're forgetting about the veterans. You're forgetting about hungry children. Some of you are even forgetting that you grew up with SNAP benefits. You grew up with WIC. You grew up with government cheese, and it got you through. So let's stop it. Let's just stop it. Y'all know that Trump is doing a horrible job, and you know that starving people ain't cool. Let's go.
Right? We have not increased the minimum wage, and I don't know when, and the minimum wage still sits at $7. While
Exactly. Man, she's hey, listen, she's preaching right now. Let's go.
Right? We have not increased the minimum wage, and I don't know when, and the minimum wage still sits at $7 while everything else is going up, whether we're talking about the cost of food or whether we're talking about the cost of rent or whether we're talking about the cost to actually try to engage in home ownership, if we're talking about the interest rates. And we know that under the failed leadership of this administration, this country has seen a loss of 1 million jobs, and that's just in the first few months. He's not even had a full year. So no, we need to work on economic policies that will put people into a position in which they are not the working poor, where they are still needing the $6 a day to eat. So yes, we need to talk about it, but I don't think that SNAP is the problem. I think that that is the resolution, or at least that is a symptom of the problem. We have a bigger problem in which we have billionaires that are continuing to rise up every single day and are getting richer and richer, to the extent that there was talk about Elon becoming a trillionaire, the first one in this country or in the world. Yet we still have people that have to go to the food bank and go to work, that have to sit there and go to make sure that they've got money on their SNAP and EBT cards. Like,
now y'all gotta understand, when you have billionaires, millionaires, and future trillionaires determining who gets SNAP benefits and who gets fed, you have a serious disconnect. Listen, they should hire a bunch of social workers to be in charge of all of how they distribute this, because these billionaires and millionaires, they are completely out of touch. They don't give a damn about the poor or working poor. When Trump got elected, he said only the strong gonna survive. That's literally what he said. Y'all remember that? That man got elected and said only the strong will survive. Let's see, Kevin Timmer, he says Ohio minimum wage is $10.25, but even Walmart pays $15 in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. Well, Ohio got it good. And because it's not like that everywhere. Most labor jobs is paying around 12, 13. I'm talking about warehouse jobs, all of that. They paying around 12 or 13. And it's been like that for the last 10 years.
that's a problem, and I do think that we need to address it.
And you mentioned it's about 30% have income, but that number goes up to 55% of SNAP users if you include families with children. I also want to ask you about another huge cost right now, and that's health insurance. The Kaiser Family Foundation estimates about 17% of your state's population did not have coverage in 2024, and more than 1 million might become uninsured if these subsidies expired. What impact do you think that will have on families in your state? And are you hearing concern across the aisle on this issue?
I am absolutely hearing concerns kind of in general.
And y'all know what's crazy? It's mostly red states that's receiving SNAP benefits. That's the irony of all this.
And many of those on the other side of the aisle do not want to admit it publicly. You have pretty much only really seen Marjorie Taylor Greene be honest about this and talk about the issue as relates to the number of her constituents that are going to potentially go uninsured. And when we talk about this, I want people to understand, because I feel like some people are just callous about this and they're like, this doesn't impact me. And overall, all of this is impacting you. Everyone's insurance premiums are going up because of the big ugly bill, number one. But number two, just because somebody doesn't have health insurance coverage doesn't mean that people somehow now are not going to be sick. I need people to understand that there are oaths that many doctors have decided that they are going to honor, unlike the oaths that many of my colleagues have taken, in which they've decided to disregard. And so when somebody gets sick, that means that they're going to be at the emergency room regardless as to whether or not they have coverage. And overall, we all end up paying for it. And it is so much more expensive than making sure that that person has coverage and they're able to go in on a consistent basis and see a doctor and hopefully.
Hey, listen, the Bible says that the healing of the nation is the plants herbs yielding seed, fruits yielding seed. That's to be the medicine. Because if you're relying on health insurance to cover these surgeries and all of that, you know, listen, a lot of them insurance agencies are bailing. The premiums are sky high. So the best way is to take preemptive measures, take care of yourself to the best of your abilities. You understand? Eat right, you get your rest. Don't be around people who stress you out. Take your herbs, take your vitamins, take your minerals, all of that, right? Yep. Somebody say if they raise minimum wage, they would scale the prices up for sure. That's exactly what they would do. That's exactly what they would do. Yeah. Meanwhile, Trump over here trying to appeal giving these stamps back. You got a bunch of domestic flights that shut down today. I mean, look, America is in a whirlwind of trouble right now. Now, we definitely got to check Fox News to see what the White House is responding with, because like I said, this is breaking news regarding the food stamps. I hope everybody who's getting food stamps I hope y'all go swipe y'all card tomorrow. I hope y'all can swipe y'all card tomorrow. I'm not going to sit up here and say, go get a job when I know there's a lot of working people on stamps. What I will say is don't rely completely on these people. Find other avenues of getting to it. Try some entrepreneurship opportunities. If you want to link in with me, y'all know how to reach me, Nubreed 404 on Instagram. And you can definitely tap in. What I do for a living, I'm a travel agent. And if you're interested in starting a business as a travel agent, then hit me up. I can give you the details on that and help you get started. And that's a great way of making a living, because you're dealing with human networking. You're dealing with human interaction, and AI can't replace that. Yeah, if somebody says the government wants to be your daddy, right? That's exactly what it is. So you can't be relying on them. You got to have multiple streams of revenue, multiple streams of income. You got to get to it and however you know how to get to it. So let's see what Fox News talking about, because, you know, MAGA, they in here having a conniption about what this judge ushered or issued Trump to do. Fox News, food stamps. Let's see. Let's look that up real quick. And it doesn't even look like. Okay, here we go. Because for whatever reason, these maggots believe that it makes a difference which station when it's breaking news. But anyway, let's go.
Of the ongoing continuous government shutdown, on the brink of being the longest in U.S. history, but some movement in terms of SNAP benefits, as the Trump administration said on Monday that it will partially fund those SNAP benefits for so many millions of Americans after rulings by judges in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. You can see from the Associated Press saying the Trump administration says SNAP will be partially funded by the judge's ruling required the food aid program to continue, as the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which oversees this supplemental nutrition assistance program, had planned to freeze payments starting November 1 because it said it could no longer keep funding it during the shutdown. The program serves 1 in 8 Americans, a major piece of the nation's social safety net. Let's be joined right now, Jeff Mulvihill from the Associated Press, covering this very closely. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from.
Hold on, let's hear what he got to say. But let's get this person, Greg Masters, together. Let's do him a favor. Let's go ahead and pack him up and send him up out of here. Yawn black victim fatigue. You don't hear no victims over here. Listen, let me explain something to you. We're the survivors. We done already been through what y'all going through now. We not, listen. we not out here protesting and marching no more. We didn't already live that life. We done already been through good times, you know, scratching and surviving. Now your people got to go through it. And I don't get this. How you got fatigue? I didn't invite you here. I didn't invite you to come over here and hear our conversation, but for whatever reason, you prejudice, redneck, hills have eyes, Hicks, can't help but to bring yourself over here to hear what we talking about. You don't see me over there on your channel yawning, talking about I got orange. You don't see me talking about I got orange fatigue. Yeah. I mean, well, we packed him up. He's gone. Look, this is what we're going to do for MAGA now on. We're going to give you all the smoke you asked for. Because y'all just be thirsty. Y'all you wasn't invited. Shout out to all my Caucasian brothers and sisters who rocking with us. Yeah, it's like they wake up and think, let me go over there and see what they doing. Oh, they're just black fatigue. Let's go.
Fox, what does this mean exactly, and how soon could people be seeing that money on their EBT cards?
I think everybody's figuring out exactly what it means, Andy. The ruling just came down today. The plan is for the federal government to provide some guidance for state.
Exactly. Scream black fatigue, but can't stop watching black content. Why don't you get some damn self-control? Let's go.
Later today on how to calculate the benefits, which will be around half of what they normally are. In the court filing, the Fed said that it could take weeks or even months to load up the cards because of the system changes and the calculations that states would have to make. We're still trying to figure that out, and see what states say. California told us it'd probably take them about a week from the time the money is available. Certainly, it means that people who rely on the program will have to look for ways to stretch their food money farther.
So they're probably going to be trying to divvy up and get some partial payouts for SNAP recipients. The only problem is if somebody has 5-6 kids, they're not going to be able to partially eat. So this is a shame, man, but this is what they're trying to push for.
We've already seen surges of demand at food banks. We're seeing states increase their contribution to food banks. A few states have tried to find ways to load up SNAP cards on their own.
Yeah, that is a very good point, and it is partially funded. Is that in part, at least potentially, because the shutdown could continue beyond even November?
No, the partial funding is because both judges said that the federal government had to use one specific pot of money to fund the programs.
So since they're going into the emergency funds, there's still going to be millions without SNAP benefits, or there's going to be some type of partial payments. And this is just insane to me. When you got all this money being spent on a ballroom in the White House, you got all this money being distributed to foreign aid. You just got all this misappropriated wealth, and you're telling the people you're not going to feed them. Yeah, the MAGA clowns, they in here, they upset. Look, I seen one of our sisters say, look, y'all make her embarrassed to be white. Y'all giving them a bad look. And see, this is what it's about. They keep us divided and conquered through racism, religion. No, we're not doing that. There's black and white, Hispanic, there's Chinese people, there's African. Everybody watch Nubreed Global Truth. But it's always those very few bigoted, racist, prejudiced individuals that just like to wiggle themselves in here and got something to say. Right? But it is what it is. Let's go.
Who sued most Democratic states and some cities and nonprofits. So look, there are some other pots of money that could also be used for this purpose. But the federal government said that it needs to make sure it has access to that money in case it needs it down the line.
And you mentioned that some states are trying to figure it out themselves, funding it in different ways, asking for donations of the kind. And of course, they said they didn't expect the federal government to reimburse them for trying to piecemeal some of these things together to feed people in their states. That is still accurate, correct? States won't be reimbursed for whatever they did to try to fund these SNAP benefits moving forward.
That seems to be the case. I mean, I guess that it's, lots of things could be negotiated, but certainly the federal government has been steadfast about that so far.
And what else can you tell us? Because obviously legal challenges by some 25 states. What other challenges might be out there? Are we expecting any rulings?
Sure. So, these are the only two major legal challenges that we're aware of so far. One filed by most Democratic-led states, the other by cities and nonprofit groups. The judges have spoken for now. It does seem like if the shutdown isn't resolved by the end of November, we could be back in exactly the same spot a month from now. But the funds that are
that's exactly what I was worried about at the beginning of this stream. I said it. I was like, hold on, y'all digging into the emergency funds, and y'all gonna divvy up rations for November, and then if the government is still shut down in December, we have the same situation. What it looks like is happening is they're trying to keep people pacified to prolong the inevitable. And perhaps the inevitable is riots, looting. The reason why you see military strategically placed in various cities is because when starvation kicks in, when hunger kicks in, the streets get kind of crazy. Maybe they haven't finished setting up all their checkpoints that they're trying to set up. So they're prolonging it by doing what? Rationing stamps off in certain areas and certain locations. I find it very strange that the judge from Massachusetts and the Arizona food banks are reeing up and promoting and getting donations. So what it looks like to me is that they're trying to target Black America. That's what I think. Am I sharp? Very inquisitive, what I just came to the conclusion of, right? If you're paying attention, you'll see it too. Now, peep what they just did. Peep what they just did now. In the white areas, they're getting their food banks. They're promoting them on the news. Hey, donate here, donate there. Meanwhile, places like New York and Chicago, they're losing funding. I'm telling you, man, you just got to pay attention to what they're doing. Queen Man Love, thank you. Thank you. My new business partner. She said she sends me an emoji. I appreciate you. And pretty soon, all 10 of us, we got to have us a meeting very soon. Everybody, hey, man, we getting there, y'all. We are getting there. We are getting there. We all got to come down and collectively, and everybody got to build with each other. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Let me see. Somebody says Nubreed use contingency funds, pay some SNAP, truly basically help some people. I don't know what you mean. They're going into the emergency funds, and there shouldn't be no emergency funds when this man in the White House is spending millions of dollars on a ballroom, which can feed hundreds and thousands of New Yorkers alone. Ashley says they're definitely targeting Black people. They know you're special, and they don't like that. It's all in their plan. Absolutely. It's definitely in their plan, because you can look at how they're strategically doing this. They're getting Arizona set up. They're getting Massachusetts set up. They're saying they can only ration out a certain amount. Telling you. What they're trying to do is bring crime up. I'm telling you.
being used would no longer be there.
Yeah, no, that is a very good point in terms of this, because there's so many different facets. This one we've latched on to because November 1 was the date for that. If it does continue on, will they have to find other places for this emergency funding?
They would, and I mean, there's kind of double speculation here if it continues on and what would happen then. But the federal government has said that there's not other funding that's available. So I imagine that if we get there, we'd probably see that argument made again.
Anything else, Jeff, that you're looking at in terms of this? Because obviously still some concern and confusion over when exactly it goes into motion and people will be able to afford certain things. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that those, for the people who are the beneficiaries of the program, the timeline is really of essence. The federal government says that it'll make money available today, but that's only part of the process, right? That they still have to get the calculations to states, which happens today. States
they still have to get the calculations to certain states. That's what's happening.
To do some work. Some of it seems to be pretty technical.
Yeah, it's going to be technical because the AI, the automated algorithm, is going to shortchange, certain people in certain locations. They have to figure out who they're going to distribute this aid to. And I believe it's going to be the people in Arizona and Massachusetts for the most part, because that's what we're seeing on the news.
So, how that shakes out for people who rely on the program is the big thing we're watching.
Yeah, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said it could be on Wednesday. And if it's kind of trying to find your next meal, that is obviously kind of concerning for you.
Yeah, they're not giving nobody no answers. Could be tomorrow, could be Wednesday, could be next week, could be December. Look, they want y'all playing Hunger Games. That's what they want. They want America to be like Hunger Games. All I know is District 12, my tribe with me. And I hope y'all find yours tribes too, man. But nonetheless, that's what's going on, y'all. Somebody said, why are you relying on the program? Why is your people relying on the program? How do you know I'm relying on any program? How do you figure that? Because I have a heart for people who are. So because I got a heart for people who are working poor in this country, you and the veterans and those single mothers who have children, and I'm concerned with children eating in a country that's supposed to be the richest country, but they can't feed the people. Since I'm speaking about that, I'm automatically, according to you, I'm on SNAP benefits. Right. According to my 1099s, I'm not eligible. It's like, this what happens when you live in a country who don't care about the poor. It got to get judged. But let's get Bert's ass up out of here. Bye, Bert. I mean, we keep it's hard to reason with these. You can't reason with these fools, these MAGA fools. You can't reason with them. There's something wrong with these MAGA folks. They really off the chain with it. Not even understanding their people as the highest recipients of SNAP. But they too busy coming over here bothering us. But y'all know, man, you know how we go in, man. It's always an honor building with y'all. Of course, I got more material coming. Hey, man, support the website, nubreedglobaltruth.com. Support everything that we do. If you would like to support me via Cash App, actually, I think I actually have a new Cash App, so I have to wait to post that. I had to get a new one, but nonetheless, we'll update that in the near future. But I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining. Of course, I got